So there are different kind of sufferings in this world, and relationship suffering, it's actually is on top of the scale, because you see people experience heartbreak and depression and grief and mourning because of relationship related issues. And the whole point of a big sister like Solutions to You, or maybe not big sister, a friend, is the suffering that I have suffered. You don't have to suffer it. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you 5 things that I know now at 32 that I wish I knew when I was 22. Kind of like a letter to my younger self when it comes to relationships. And I know that this is going to be really, really valuable to someone out there. See, as somebody who all alive has dated good boys, like I don't have any attraction or whatever to bad boys. There are just some girls that from the beginning they like bad boys, whatever that means, because to some people being a bad boy is like whatever. I don't know, I can't relate, it's not my cup of tea. I've always had something for good boys, church boys. Okay, can I get okay, my fellow Christian sisters? I've always just been drawn to church boys. But I have realized, looking back, that because you met him in church or because he goes to church does not automatically mean that he's a good person or that he's good for you. Can I get an amen? Because beware of what? Wolves in sheep's clothing. And I think that people forget many times that the church is like a hospital setting, right? You see the same way if you go into a hospital, there are people who need healing. You can't just go and say, everybody here is fine. That would be like literally folly. Now, there are doctors who are fine, who are helping. Now, there are like nurses. But in the general scope of things, just because somebody is in the hospital doesn't make them fine. In fact, they point out to the fact that they have a lot of issues going on and they're there as a patient. Same thing with the church. We oftentimes forget that people in the church are people who have issues, who need help. And let's face it, this help that they need, some are refusing to receive it. Some are just coming because it feels good. It makes them look good. They like the company. It's easier to find vulnerable girls like who I was, and they're just coming. They keep coming. In fact, you'll be shocked that some people come into church and they've been going to church and they're determined not to even have a personal walk because they have let their flesh control the narrative that if you keep this church thing on the surface, then the perks are more than if you go deep down into having a relationship with God. So that's your wake-up call. Next time you walk into church, like every guy in church, let me say it here, is a suspect, okay? Every guy in church is a suspect. Like, don't assume that they are who they say they are. Even all those people flocking around the pastors, all those guys in suits, all those people that look like, they go to the gym, they have a good career. What else? They have to be a good husband material. Lies from the pit of hell, okay? Question and look at every spirit. The thing about character and fruits is that it can't really lie if you're paying attention. It can be overlooked if you're not paying attention. But the whole point of this is that please remember that just because you meet him in church doesn't mean that he's going to be the most amazing life partner for you. Doesn't mean that he's automatically God's chosen for you. I remember one guy I met in church. I didn't have a relationship with him, but we went out on a date one day and he told me, God said you are my wife. I'm like, do I look like I can be bamboozled with that sort of gibberish and nonsense? Like, pick somebody else. I'm just like, for me, that was just like me. Thank God that I have my own walk with God, and that's like a good thing to say here. Make sure that you also are someone who you're working with the Holy Spirit, you have discernment, the fruit of your own life are really, deep down fruits, not just surface value fruits, so that way it's easier to meet someone and realize if what they're doing is surface level or if it is really, a deeper work, because you've been there, you're practicing it, and then if you know, right? So for church boys, still tread with caution, still have your eyes wide open, still look for people who know them, still go to their father's house and find out information about them, still go and look at, okay, why did you leave your last relationship? Like, just tread with caution and don't automatically assume that because you met him in church, it's going to be the best life partner for you. No. So, church aside, the next thing I'm going to say that I wish I knew when I was younger is that if he wanted to, he will. Come on now. If he wanted to, he will. Let me tell you. And that involves every single love language. If he wanted to send you messages early in the morning, he will. If he wanted to buy you gifts and pamper you, especially when he can afford it, he will. Even when he can't afford it, he will. Okay, some guys will go out of their way to make sure that you feel like the only woman in the world. If he wanted to, whatever, be the priest over your life, he will. The thing with men that people fail to realize is that they know what they want. It's not like surface, what do you want to eat? I don't know, or whatever you give me. In terms of who do I want to spend my life with, what am I looking for in a woman? Men know this. And if they feel like you're not the person for them, they will string you along up until your heart is broken. And there's now something that they will pin on you that, oh, it's a problem of your life. And don't believe it, by the way. Don't let any man make you feel like you are a problem. Nobody's perfect. But I hope that you see yourself through the lens of Christ, and that you're worthy of love, and that you're worthy of affection, and that you are loved and you matter and you deserve everything good. Okay? But I digress. Back to the original point. Please don't let any man tell you that, oh, I'm still watching, I don't know where this is going, or whatever jargon it is that they're saying. If he wanted to, he will. Like I said something on Instagram that day, I'm like, look at the way your mates are being loved. Intentionality is something that you cannot take away from a man who is bent on pursuing you and having your heart and leading you and things like that. And it's easy to even say, oh, communicate what you need. I hear you. We'll come to that because that's a topic for another day. Okay, I'm reading and researching and realizing that there's so many types of needs. You can't tell me that it is until I voice out what I need that you will now be able to do it. There's some needs that don't even need to be voiced out, right? But that's another topic for another day. Is romantic love selfless? That's one video I've been meaning to do, but we'll come to it. But on this topic, really, like, if a man wanted to make you feel like a princess that you are, a queen that you are, he will. If he's not doing those things, ask the questions. You don't even have to ask him. Ask yourself, does he even really love me like he claims? And love not just in the words, in the actual action. Does he even rate me? Does he respect me? You see the sacrifices that this man will do. They will drive 3 hours if it's for a job or if it's for an event. But when it comes to you, it's excuses upon excuses. Listen, if a man wanted to, he will. If he's not doing it, it's because he doesn't want to. So you ask yourself the question of, why is he not doing it? Is it because I don't mean as much to him as I think? Like, also rate yourself in where you are in people's lives to avoid like disappointment. Okay, on that note, let me quickly say that if he also wanted to lavish you with gifts, he will. Shout out to Teddy Blake Bags. They sent me this beautiful, amazing bags. Are you ready for it? I love if you watched my vlogs the last time, you know that I bought a shoe in this color, and now I have this Teddy Blake bag. I am so looking forward to pairing both together. This is pretty, like, it is cute, it is leather. So Teddy Blake specializes in making premium Italian leather bags, so that's luxury, but for the fraction really of what you're getting. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, this looks like a particular bag that's like in the $40,000 category, but obviously this is nothing close to that. I'm going to leave a link in my description box for you to check out their bags, and they also release new collection every now and then. So if you don't find your Teddy Blake yet, then you can just sign up, and you never know when they'll release something that would catch your fancy. So at the end of the day, what you're enjoying is luxury at a fair price. Honestly, look at the second one. Ooh, this is my fave. Okay, between the two, this is my fave. I absolutely love how stunning this particular piece is, like, and the size, look at that. And I love the design. The designs are modern. So yes, thank you Teddy Blake for sending me these beautiful pieces. Check them out. I'm going to leave the link to shop in my description. These guys actually use the same factories, the same Italian factories that this high-end brands use to produce their bags. So, but with this, you're getting it for a fraction. So check out their website. I hope you got Valentine's Day gift. If you did not get Valentine's Day gift, go tell your man. If your birthday is coming soon, whatever, if he wanted to, he will. I was dating one guy, moving on, that told me, oh, I don't believe in Valentine's. I don't do Valentine's. Hey! Let me just say that now he's doing Valentine's with his wife. Oh, God no go shame us. No, I am not a stalker at all, but on the internet we see things, whether you go looking or not. They are doing Valentine's. Long story short, and he told me I doesn't believe in Valentine. You see what I'm saying? So don't take that, okay? If you love it, you want it, ask for it, especially when you ask for it. Like, how hard can it be? And I'm so happy that a lot of men are talking about this. I saw videos over and over on TikTok, on Instagram, towards the Valentine's Day period, of people who are saying that, I don't believe in the Valentine. Men, I don't care about it, but my wife loves it. Is it going to kill me? No. So this is 100 roses and some balloons and some petals. Doesn't take much. And that's like, those who get it, get it. That's it. Those who get it, get it. This next point, I feel like my Africans, we left the chat. Listen, I wish I could look back at my 22-year-old self and say, you deserve a love that does not require suffering first. Listen. Let me say that in another way. Pain or suffering does not give wholeness to love. Love in itself is whole enough. Period. I don't know this mindset of, fill in the blank. So I'm going to stay with him when he's broke. I mean, let's even leave money. That's like the last thing. Primarily is that, I have to go through heartbreaks. He has to beat me first. I have to catch him cheating several times. Our story will be more solid if we have all of these things that we've gone through in our arsenal to prove that our love can really stand the test of time. Please, count me out. Sweetheart, my darling, you deserve a love that does not require you to suffer first. Love in itself is whole. Pain, heartbreak, whatever, infidelity, beatings, it does not give wholeness to that love. You don't have to, come out with a trophy of, I've suffered, so I deserve. No, what you deserve is a love that comes to you whole and beautiful and lack of suffering. Just Jesus has already died and paid the price, okay? That's the only suffering, again, that anybody needs in love, period. They would gaslight you, make you feel like, this is adding to our beautiful love story, can't you see it? Say, no, my darling, I can't see it. It doesn't have to be this route. Peace. Open your own eyes and start to think about what this is doing to you. Unfortunately, people who sit it out to say, I'm going to suffer first, or that's when I know he really loves me, when I've stayed with him through thick, thin, and everything in between, those people get broken before they are even able to enjoy the full essence of what love is. You're already broken, you're already damaged goods. Top it up, at the end of the day, these guys that make you suffer might still then dump you and leave you, and then they've left you broken for whoever it is that is worthy of your love and your heart. And when you do meet that person, a part of you is already gone with that relationship, and you're withholding a part of yourself, and you don't love or trust again. Or if you know what to do, you have to take years of therapy and deep healing to make sure that the real you resurfaces. Like, little me, you watching, suffering is not what validates love. Okay? And I know I spoke about financially in the beginning. See, that's another topic for another day. There's nothing wrong with building with a man. Like, I've said that many times over. But you can't just be building with a man foolishly as well, right? So, yeah, we'll talk about that another day. Next thing I'm going to tell my younger self is that you cannot fix a man. I know your intentions are great. I know that you have a beautiful whole heart. I know that you see the potential in this man. You know what it could be. You know what both of you could be if you come together. But it is not yours to fix, unfortunately. And the more you try, the more resentment and gap and, self-righteousness that is going to be in your relationship. You then become the bad person sometimes. It's not your duty to fix a man. I remember somebody was asking me at one time, and at this point I was like, out of school. And the vibe of the person, fundamentally, I know that this person is a good person. But generally, like, their mindset and things like that, I said to myself, as good as you are, your wife is probably in like SS3. Like, maybe by the time she's ready, you would have done all the work that, I expect that a man should have. So call it standards, call it whatever. I just think that people who go into a relationship looking to see, I can fix that man. It's an abuser, don't worry, I have the hack for abusers. Continue. It's your head that is on the line. He's a lazy man. By the time he sees me working hard, he will be encouraged. The laziness didn't start with you. It's not going to end with you. Oh, he's just dealing with some issues from his family. So you're going to take that man who is like over 20 and you think how many years of your life is going to automatically change what he has built in his core. It's not your duty to change a man. I mean, there are people who their issues come to light in relationships, right? And they own it and they're willing to go on a journey of change, right? So they're in therapy, so they're deepening their work with God, so they are, keeping a healthy community of friends. You can see them putting in the work. And with that, yes, fine, I am not the one trying to change you. You're pursuing change by yourself. That is the type that you can put your head on the line and say, okay, fine, I'm going to seek it by you as you go. The love that I have for you. But before we get married or whatever, or before you get comfortable, I want to see that you have attained that level of responsibility in love, in finances, in whatever that I feel like you should be like. So, you can't fix a man. Simple, point blank. You're not Jesus. You can't. Okay? I know it hurts. I know that your brain can't make sense of it because you're just like, why? Like, if he sees me like this, why won't he change? Or if he sees what he could be, he says it about himself all the time. He knows his potential. Why can't he change for me? For us? It's not designed that way, unfortunately, and it hurts sometimes. But the faster you let go of that weight and that responsibility, the better it is for you to forge ahead in the right path with your own life. You have a lot of fixing to do by your own self, so focus on that until the man who is worthy of where you are comes along, okay? The last thing I'm going to say is that you need to take responsibility for your choices. We've been talking about the men and the men and the men. Listen, at least for me personally, there are so many times that I was really blaming my issues or the issues I went through in relationships or even in life on the quality of men that I was with, right? So if anything happens, I'll say, oh, it's them. They're the ones. And it's not totally a bad thing. It was where I was coming from, thinking that a man should be responsible for certain things, right? I think one of the things that has even grown me into being this strong, independent, I know what I want, I'm going to do what I want kind of woman, is because I've seen how men can ignore responsibilities, and that's sad. However, I've also learned at the end of the day, what that has taught me is that I'm also responsible here, right? Now in marriage, you see that, marriage is 100. That means you have to also pull your own weight. The other person pulls their own weight, and that's what makes you whole. But at the end of the day, you also see that expecting that all of the fault should be on one person is totally unfair, whether you're a man or a woman. So for me, I'll tell my younger self that own your part in the way the relationship ended. Take responsibility for the things that were not going right in the relationship, because I can leverage those to become better, which I did, to become better as I progress in life and with other relationships. And it's not okay, it's not enough to blame them entirely for everything that went wrong, because let's be honest, yes, they might be the one who has the trauma or lack self-control or whatever. At the end of the day, there are things that I permitted, there are things that you are permitting, there are things that you could stand up for, whatever, fill in the blanks. But it's important to take responsibility for the part that you've played or you're playing in your relationship. So yeah, that's it. I hope that this speaks and resonates with somebody out there. Maybe you're new to relationships and you're trying to figure out, okay, it's a wild world out here. I hope that this really resonates with you and gives you some form of value or lesson or support. So I wish you all the best. And if you're watching here, you're a grown woman like me, and you have some things that you wish you had learned when you were younger, 10 years ago, whatever, put it down in the comments and let our younger ones learn from it.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul.